president is monitoring the ongoing reports of a school shooting in Santa Clarita. The White House encourages all those in the area to follow the advice of local law enforcement and first responders. So nearby schools in the area also on lockdown as authorities continue the search for the suspect. We do believe through Sheriff Villanueva and some of the things that Scott Wright has seen, they've identified the suspect. They know.
And we heard all my friends were around. We heard the first gunshot and we all thought it was a balloon popping, but it was too loud for a balloon to pop. And then they went 1, 2, and then we all just started running and people were falling in front of me. And I ran across the street to someone's house and stayed there till my parents picked me up.
I understand that there was quite a crowd of kids that just scrambled to get off the school grounds, and they went to a home where somebody opened the door and just let everybody in.
Yeah, we were all just staying there. A lot of us left our phones at school because we dropped everything. So we were given water and we were waiting for our parents to come pick me up, and we were getting phone calls.
When you heard that sound, could you tell where it was coming from?
It felt towards me in the quad, but I heard it was somewhere else towards the choir room, but I had no clue.
And then as you were running, can you describe that moment? When everybody just kind of took off, was it just kind of a spontaneous moment, or did some people think it was just perhaps a drill?
I was in shock. I didn't even process it yet. I just started running because I started seeing people run, and once I started running out of the gate, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is actually happening. Never thought this would happen to my school.
We hear that a number of people were hurt, possibly in the stampede, just to get away.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of situation it was?
Yes, there was girls falling in front of me. I was trying to help them up, and then I just kept running because I didn't want to get hurt either. So.
The school has had drills in the past. Have you been a part of any of those drills?
I've been a part of maybe about 3 drills, and 2 last year and 1 this year.
Did it seem to help, do you think?
Yes, there was a lot of kids in school at the moment because they have a first period and I was in second period. So they were all safe, and then I saw them being escorted out. So it probably did help a lot.
How about connecting to your dad? Your dad is here nearby.
I didn't have my phone on me. I just dropped everything. That was the last thing I was thinking about. I called my dad and my mom on my friend's phone here and there, and just letting everyone know that I'm fine and I'm safe and I'm at someone's house.
Had you ever discussed this with your parents, the possibility, what to do, etc.?
I haven't really discussed it with my parents, but I did discuss it at school and let my parents know, oh, we had this discussion at school today.
We've heard that there were a number of deputies off duty who are parents of students here. Did you see anybody trying to respond to the emergency that appeared to be a civilian?
I didn't really see anything. I just ran right out of school as fast as I could.
Brooklyn, how are you dealing with this emotionally?
I'm still kind of in shock right now. I've been shaking and crying a lot, worried for my friends, and I just don't know how. I can't do anything to help, and I've just been an emotional wreck right now.
I understand. Well, I hope you can get home, and I'm sure your dad is very, very glad to have you safe and sound, and I hope your friends are fine as well. Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to be talking to more students as they become available. A number of deputies are talking to them right now, want to get their narrative of what happened as they continue this investigation and search for the shooter. Reporting live from Saugus, Miriam Hernandez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Miriam, thank you very much for that. It was such an enlightening interview with Brooklyn. She was in the quad, heard 2 shots, and then they all started running.
And then the training, the repetition, the fact that they've been through the drills, and then you think some of the drill goes out the window when you are just trying to get out. I found it amazing. You go to a nearby house, just a house, and the people take you in.
They all piled into a house.
And then you start calling mom and dad.
Yeah, it is 9:18 right now, and this is a special edition of Eyewitness News. We are on the air right now because of this emergency in Santa Clarita. It's at Saugus High School.
There's been a shooting at the school this morning. You're looking at the young woman we were just talking with and her father. And as you can imagine, she was saying she was an emotional wreck. And so many times in these circumstances, most of the emotion comes from the unknown. You don't know of your friends. You don't know. She wanted to get away for herself, but now her emotions are about her friends.
Right, and feeling powerless.
And there are so many people that are feeling that right now because of what happened this morning. There are some conflicting reports about the number of injuries, but at the most recent check, there are 5 victims, 2 of them in critical condition. We do know that the White House is monitoring the situation. The 3 remaining victims that we heard were just being transported. So we don't know. There could be more critical, there could be minor. We just don't know. We know that 2 were in critical because they were at the hospital, and then 3 are being transported.
And we have word that at least 1 person is a gunshot victim. That's what we have so far from Alex Villanueva. But we have Cheryl Green on the phone with us. Cheryl, you're a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
A psychiatrist at Loma Linda, yeah.
Dr. Green, thank you so much for joining us. This is such an awful situation, and you are watching, as are all of us. What can you tell us about what people need to do to try to deal with this tragic situation?
Oh man, you know, what a tragic situation. You know, there are actually no real answers for this. What we once thought was that, you know, going over and over it was a good thing to do. Now we know that that kind of debriefing is not ideal. Really what you should do is just get the kids to safety, make them feel secure, get them into something that's familiar and comfortable for them. You know, just provide a lot of love and support, and that's really the best we can do.
Cheryl, I want to ask a question. As we watch this scene right here on our left, the scene on our left are the kids walking out, and much what we heard from a witness earlier, you don't see a lot of them recording this. You don't see a lot of them on their phones. They're just following orders. Cheryl, what I wanted to ask you, as an adolescent psychiatrist, what should parents try to do in the sense that parents are overwhelmed with emotion? Parents are just trying to hold and grasp their children. Should we try to caution and hold in our emotions so that the kids don't see that? What would you advise to a parent who's seeing their child healthy and surviving in this?
You know, what we recommend is just being as real as possible. Just be as real as possible. If you're feeling a lot of very strong emotions and, you know, feeling a rush of empathy for the children who are injured, show that to your kid. That is a normal response. You know, trauma is, you know, traumatizing. You have to be real with it. The only way these feelings can be dealt with is if they're expressed openly and honestly. So please do let them see your sorrow.
Dr. Green, you deal with troubled adolescents. Let's talk about the suspect, believed to be a member of the student body, a male student, believed to be the only suspect in this case. How do you size that person up? What can you enlighten us with about a person like this?
You know, why would he do something like this?
Right.
You mean why he would do something like this?
Uh-huh.
Oh man, we don't know all of the factors that cause this kind of uptick in violence in the schools. There have been upticks in homicidality and suicidality starting since 2014 or so, and we're not completely sure what's causing these upticks. Some strong possibilities, though, are media influences, social media influences, the increases in video gaming. You know, video games have you in a hypnotic state, rehearsing killing tens of thousands of times. And, you know, this can't be good for the developing teen brain to see this and to maintain that difference from reality. So, I don't know, but that's one of the big culprits.
Well, Cheryl Green, Doctor of Child and Adolescent Psychiatrist, we want to...
So I'm waiting to see the next group of people come out.
And Bill, when you say 2 groups of 20, you were talking about you've seen students come out of the school, get on buses, and then taken to Central Park?
I've seen 2 groups escorted by armed police officers walking down the street here, down Centurion, on their way to be picked up by a bus.
How did you hear about this incident?
I had a text message from the school, which Saugus High is really good about contacting parents when anything needs to be broadcast.
And what did that text message say?
It said, please do not come to Saugus High School. Further information will be provided by email. Since then, we've gotten many updates, and it sounds like students still remain on lockdown, and I'm pretty sure that includes my daughter.
And Bill, in a situation like this, how, as a parent, did you feel like, how do I not come to the high school where my daughter is, especially when you can't get a hold of her cell phone, although you have been able to at least know that she's okay?
I knew that my wife is at work right now and I'm not working, so I quickly got in the car and I came as far as I could, which is about a mile away, and then I had to run the rest of the way. So I had to be here because my wife couldn't, and who knows what's going on.
And it's quite a heartbreaking scene here as parents are just completely shaken up, as you can imagine, including yourself. Many, it sounds like, haven't even been able to get a hold of some of their kids yet. Luckily, at least, your daughter texted from a friend's cell phone. What was your reaction when you saw that text, when you knew that she was okay?
Well, that was extreme relief, because I was talking to a gentleman here that was giving me reports that he's heard about a girl has been shot and killed and 16 people were wounded. I don't know if those numbers are true at all.
Yeah, those are unconfirmed reports at this time.
Just to hear that a girl was shot was devastating, so it was great to see the text.
And what did she say in that text, if you don't mind sharing with us?
It was short. She says, hi, Daddy, this is Diana. I'm fine. I'll let you know what's happening next. So, yeah, that was my 16-year-old daughter, Diana.
And I assume you wrote her back and you said, I'm here outside the school?
Yes, I said, please keep me updated and post it. And she's texted me once or twice since, but that's been a while now. So I guess they're trying to get ready to lift the lockdown, I hope.
Well, they are looking for one suspect at this time, so that is why you're seeing such a large police presence, and it's obviously still very tense here, and that's why I can imagine why your daughter has not come out of the gym yet. Are you going to go to Central Park where it sounds like some of the students will be taken, or at this point you're going to stay here?
I'm going to stay here hoping that I'll be able to retrieve her when I see her walking out, because I hear that Central Park is so crowded now that the people that are there are stuck, which is okay, but yeah, I plan to stay here.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Bill Myers, and we wish you and your daughter the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So that is the scene here, and I just want to show you just eerily quiet right now, Philip and Leslie, as parents just are not being allowed past these patrol cars, but we are pretty much at the entrance to the high school, so many of them have been able to get very, very close, which, as you can imagine, Philip and Leslie, only makes this situation worse, because they know that their kids are inside this high school. They know they can't go past this point, and they are seeing the urgency of these sheriff deputies really engage in this active search right now, Philip and Leslie.
Okay, Josh, such a difficult situation for those parents. Our hearts are going out to them as they are waiting to find out if their kids are okay. We're going to go on the ground at the scene as well to Miriam Hernandez. And Miriam, looks like you have a student with you.
Yes, I'm with Brooklyn Moreno. She's a sophomore here at Saugus High. And I even haven't had a chance to talk to you about what you
don't know where the suspect is. They have some idea possibly, but you know, a lot of times they respond to a situation and it's not the individual, so the suspect could be anywhere in this area, so just keep that in mind. There you see the SWAT team, the armored SWAT vehicle coming in. That is so effective, so they can go right up to that house in question. Once again, I just didn't want to show that activity because it may give away their positions, but this is an area they're really devoting a lot of their attention, so the suspect could actually be here in this home or behind the home on Sycamore Creek Drive.
Well, Scott, I completely agree with you. Let's not show anything that you worry about, but you can look at it and kind of tell the answer to my question here. One of the things I've noticed is they already have crime scene tape to the right of your screen, so clearly they have not only secured this area and it's a search ongoing, they believe there's something here to the point that it's now a crime scene. My second question, when you are looking at things, earlier we showed a couple of officers that had guns drawn, pointed at a location, and they kind of moved on to another place. As you look at what you're seeing, not showing us, but as you look at it, do you see them not diverting their attention away from the focus? Does that make sense? I mean, so the demeanor is consistent that they think they might have an identified spot?
Exactly. Now, the demeanor is that they believe there's someone in that home in question who could be the suspect. significantly different than what we saw at the school when people were walking around. The home in question, again, this is Sycamore Creek Drive, it's west of Seco Canyon, is about 6 or 7 houses to the left, which is south. And that's where the armored vehicle went, right to the front of that home. And they have surrounded that home, not only in the front, with deputies behind their vehicles with the guns drawn, but in the back, there's a hillside. They have deputies up on the hill. The two adjacent homes, they have walls that separate the homes. They've used ladders so that they can get SWAT team officers up and they can get a good look into the backyard and the back of the house. So they're diverting all of their attention on that one home in this area. It must be their belief at this point in time, you see the LA County Sheriff's helicopter flying through, that the suspect is in that particular home. You can tell only 5 or 6 homes north of that, where we're looking right now, it's very casual. There are people walking around. But remember, folks, if you live in this area, you've had to have heard the helicopters fly by. I've seen a lot of times officers have responded. They believe that someone may be in the home, the suspect, and he's not. So that means he could be anywhere. We don't know for certain that that individual that has been on the shooting rampage is in that home. If he is in the home, they're going to get him into custody. He will not get away. That is for certain.
Well, Scott, it appears from your shot that there are cars in the driveways of these surrounding homes. So people are home in the neighborhood. So they are heeding the warnings to lock down, as far as you can tell, right?
Yeah, especially on this stretch. I think officers have already gone to all these homes right here in this particular area and said, hey, stay in the house. And I think the folks here probably feel fairly safe because all the officers are here. You see the police presence. It's the fact that if he's not on this street, this suspect, and he's 2 or 3 streets.
Okay, Scott's audio went out just a little bit. Okay, Scott, we're gonna clear up your signal just a second because we want to go to Josh Haskell, but I do want to pass along this because I do believe you could probably hear us. We're getting this from the Sheriff's Department. They believe at this time there's only one suspect, so that is also something that a lot of times is on people's mind, but they believe there's one suspect. They are actively investigating. They're following all leads, and as Scott has been saying, it's not what you're looking at in the picture you see right there. A few houses away, there's a lot of focus by SWAT and other officers on a house. It could be the location where the suspect is. We do not know that. It is not confirmed. But let's go to Josh Haskell, who has a parent who I can only imagine, Josh, the stories that you're hearing over and over and over, concern, and then the compassion for the parents that are affected.
Yeah, Philip, and since we last spoke, we walked closer to the high school. This is the high school behind me. I just want to quickly let you and Leslie know exactly what is happening here. It is just an incredibly tense situation. You have parents literally mixed in with law enforcement, and they are just waiting outside the high school desperately, looking at their phones, trying to get in touch with their kids, and many of them did not want to speak to us at all. They are incredibly shaken up, as you can imagine. A deputy with the Santa Clarita Valley LASD Sheriff's Department, they just told us that parents should go to Central Park, that area, to be reunited with their kids. So that's what we just saw happen. I know that we've been hearing different things on a reunification center, but we just saw a deputy go up to these parents gathered over here. As I just want to show you, this is the scene. We've seen some parents crying, and they're just trying to get a hold of their kids. Some can, some cannot. Bill Myers right here. You did speak to your daughter. She's in 11th grade. Bill, tell us what she told you.
Yeah, she texted me using somebody else's phone saying that she's all right, but that's the only information I've got. So apparently she doesn't have access to her own phone or her backpack. So what I've seen is 2 groups of 20 come out over the past hour, and I believe, yeah, they're
doing is, would you push in and go to the right a little bit with the camera? You push in right there, that's fine. This is where the officers initially responded. This home right here, we have the address on Sycamore Creek. What they're doing now, about 4 houses to the south of this, is all west of Seco Canyon Road, is surrounding a home. Officers behind the home, officers in front of that home. My concern is if the suspect's inside watching us, he will see the location of those deputies, and we just cannot give that away. What they've done, though, is they've completely surrounded it. They have deputies hiding behind their vehicles with their guns drawn at that home in question. They also have deputies behind the house, so using ladders to go from one home to the next so that they can peek into the backyard of the house in question on Sycamore Creek Drive. So in situations like this, you know, you get a report that somebody spots a suspect, matches a description of this individual, they respond. This could be happening in several different areas. You know about a search on Bouquet Canyon and the riverbed, but this one seems to be the most prevalent. The most activity is here on Sycamore Creek Drive. I'm just really hesitant to give away the position of the officers, so hopefully you understand the rationale behind that. But there's an active search right here. It appears that the deputies